Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Christi and this is CC's Brilliant Plan. I am a little late in sharing this update. I wanted to have kind of a regular quarterly update about my planner systems and how they've evolved and changed over the course of this year. But of course, July ended up being crazy busy for me, work and personal, lots to do. And so I am just now on August 4th, finally kind of showing my update for the year, which really isn't that much. I've been pretty consistent with my system this year. So I'll link below what my setup was like at the beginning of the year in January, and then what my update after the first quarter back in April was like. Not much has changed since then. I've been very consistent and happy with my main systems, but I did want to show mostly some of the other changes that I had made, or small additions that I had made kind of on an as needed basis. So if you're interested in planners and journals and journaling, stick around. And thanks so much for joining. So how I had organized, I think the last update was kind of showing first what planners and journals I use on a daily basis. So I liked that. I thought that I'll do the same here. And these are the three main planners and journals that I use on a daily basis. This being my personal daily planner, this being my my work planner, and this being my personal daily journal. I will start with my personal daily planner. This is a vanderspek Nomad, which fits like a traveler's notebook regular or N1 size if you're a Sterling Ink common planner user. This is in the Janet Leather Black, and I've had this for about 10 months now. I've been in this exclusively since January, and I really love it. It has such a gorgeous patina. It is such a beautiful planner. I had it custom made, and I think I described it a little bit more in detail in an unboxing video but last year, so you can check that out as well. The setup here hasn't really changed. I kind of added some decoration, but what I use is a N1 Sterling Ink Common Planner, the full year. So this has 365 pages in the back, as well as the weekly and monthly layouts. And I designed my own stamps for the N1 pages so that I can kind of personalize my layouts. For example, I have a daily plan, a task list, and then I also have a weekly plan, same task list that I use on the week pages. And then the monthlies I kind of go back and use as a memory keeper of sorts. So what I added some dashboards and kind of vision boards that I had set up for myself early in the year, and I wanted to decorate my planner. I've also been using this notebook as a commonplace notebook, where I basically might take notes from different newsletters or articles that I'm reading and things that I want to remember. This is a song, lyrics from a song that I really liked, that resonated with me earlier in the year. So I just kind of put them on an image of a mountain. And yeah, this has just kind of been a little anthem for me this year. This I switched out because this is a weekly Sterling Ink booklet, I believe she calls them. And it comes with basically two inserts, one for the first half of the year, one for the second half of the year. I also track workouts here, my meals, my favorite meals that I ate throughout the week. So yeah, this has been going strong with me. It is so thick and chunky, and I love it. And it's funny because, the reason why I kind of decided to go with the booklet this year is because I wanted all of, everything in one book, easy to archive. I also didn't want to necessarily have to print and cut inserts like I had been doing for the past several years in my rings planners. But something that I kind of added this year to supplement my daily planner was just this kind of A6 rings by Gillio notebook. Kind of love this size for like quick things to jot down, or if I'm like doing a quick run and I just want to take something really small and light and portable. I love this size. It's mostly something I just use at my desk, but I like to carry it around every once in a while when I don't necessarily want to take around my full planner. Still though, this has been such a gorgeous cover, and I think this might be the longest that I've stayed in a cover for my daily planner in a very long time. Now I'm going on 8 months. So in addition to these two daily kind of personal planners, I have my work planner and then my personal journal. So for my personal journal, my daily journal, I use a A5 common planner from Sterling Ink in the full year size, which means it also again has 365 blank pages in the back for daily pages, as well as weekly and monthly layouts. And on the daily pages, I always start off with like a affirmation that I get from the IM app. 3 things that I'm grateful for, kind of a bulleted list of key points of the day, kind of my high moment of the day, my favorite moment of the day, a low moment of the day, and then if I want to add anything here about notes, goals, completed, accomplished, that kind of a thing. And I'm pretty consistent with my daily pages. I'm up to date. Every once in a while I might get a week behind and go back and update it. My weeklies, I was pretty consistent, but I'm about a month behind. So I really need to finish up my June, the last week of June, and then July weekly reflections as part of my resets for each month and each quarter. This has been a very consistent planner for me this year, or journal for me this year. It kind of builds upon a gratitude journal that I used for the last 5 years in a small, like week size, either Hobonichi planner or Sterling Ink week size planner. But this just gives me so much more space to kind of reflect on the day, and almost like a memory keeper and journal and gratitude practice. And this is in my purple A5 zip appunto from Gillio Firenze. This is the Apoca leather. I bought this, oh my gosh, maybe like 3 years ago, used. So I don't know how old this one actually is, but it's a really beautiful color. Finally, the last daily planner journal part of my lineup is my work planner, which is actually a Moterm, because I don't think Gillio had ever produced an Apoca black leather A5 zip appunto, but I really wanted for work a black pebbly leather zip cover that could fit A5 or half letter discs, which I have been using now for the past year. This layout has really been working for me to capture a lot of metrics that I have to track. I was trying to use digital planning last year, and I was using it successfully for about 6 months. But I don't know, nothing beats, pen to paper sometimes for consistency for me. And so I went back to this system, and I've been using it this way for the past year. And again, this is a Moterm A5 zip planner cover in, I believe it's called Midnight. It's the black. I can't remember exactly the color, but it's basically a black vegan or vegetable tan leather, not vegan, vegetable tan leather. Yeah, this has been going well. So those are my daily planners and notebooks that I use mostly here at my desk. If I do go anywhere, for the most part though, if I go to work, I might only take this. Maybe this if I'm going to spend, all day out and about. But mostly this, just this. If I'm going out running errands, I might take this or I might take this. Depends on what I feel I need. So So other journals that I used or intended to use so far this year are the following. So this is sort of like my deeper reflections, let it out journal. It's an B6 blank sterling ink 520 page notebook, and I just use it to, free form journaling. And this is a Gillio undyed Apoca B6 cover, a B6 Apunto. And I've had this, I think, for about 3 years almost. I'm actually trying to find when it was that I purchased this one. Yeah, so September 2022. So it's almost 3 years old, and not very consistent use, but this is how it has aged. But it's so beautiful. I think I could certainly see myself using this size in the future as like a daily on the go notebook. But for now, this is being used as my journal. So this is my health and wellness, and the cover itself is a Giramondo Deluxe from Gillio in the color Toscana Sand. It's a really beautiful color. I bought it new last September, so it's about a year old. I haven't really taken it out and about. Like, it's just kind of stayed on my desk or on my shelf with my other journals. I pull it out maybe like every week. It's part of my weekly reset. I intended to also use it as a finance planner and notebook, but I really use a more robust spreadsheet for finance tracking and planning. But I do have like a notebook here that I use every once in a while to take some notes on. And I had purchased this booklet, this monthly booklet, intending to kind of notate different financial milestones and goals. I haven't used this at all. This is a N1 compact full year planner from Sterling Ink, the common planner. So it has, again, horizontal weeklies. I really use it more as part of my weekly wellness tracking, and I'll notate just kind of wellness thing, milestones or goals, and then habits that I'm kind of tracking, steps, zone, minutes, sleep, calories burned. These are all like from my Fitbit. And then I also go back and add kind of higher level information to my week or monthly layouts, notate when I'm sick, all that kind of stuff. And this has really been helpful, notating workouts, that kind of stuff, as well as quarterly. Here's like, my cycle, my appointments, when I'm sick, habits, goals. This was a fun little addition. I had purchased this Traveler's Notebook cover last summer to kind of test out the size, the kind of N1 or Traveler's Notebook regular size. I have been using this though. I kind of bought all these little decorative little brackets and charms, and I've been using this mostly as a dream journal. So this is almost full. And this has about a year's worth of dreams that I at least could remember and jot down. And I just keep this by my bed, and crack it open whenever I remember a dream, whenever I want to spend a few minutes to empty my brain in the morning. The one planner that I was so happy with earlier in the year but haven't used is this gorgeous medium Miyakara. This is in the Apoca Cloud color. I purchased this last September, and I had been using medium size covers for years. And when I decided to use my N1 this year, I still wanted to use a medium cover and set it up just in case I wanted to switch back. I also wanted to have my goal planning inserts in here, and so I designed you know, my GPS, my goals, my priorities, and my strategies for the year, and I printed those out. And then I also designed, I had a couple of dailies here. I had my own monthly layouts, which this is also available as a freebie. And I had weeklies, monthly goals, and quarterly goals. And I don't use this because I've really been planning in terms of like monthly and quarterly goal planning in my iPad. I think earlier in the year, everything just felt really up in the air and unpredictable. And I just kept planning and editing and revising first in GoodNotes. And yeah, that's been what I've been using now for the past 7 months. So yeah, I mean, I've still been keeping up for the most part, except for in July and at the end of June. I'm keeping up with my monthly resets in my GoodNotes planner. I thought maybe I'd go back and fill these out, but at this point, I'm just not turning to this size and this cover, even though I think it's so beautiful and I love pulling it out every once in a while and flipping through it. It's just, yeah, it's just kind of not necessary. So maybe one day I will go back into, I mean, I do anticipate I probably would go back into medium size and personal size or Franklin Covey compact size inserts. But for now, I'm really happy with my N1, and this is just set up should I ever feel the urge to go back into this cover or into this size and ever use this cover. But it's so beautiful. I love this color. I wish I had like all of these sizes in this color. It's just such a beautiful color. And what I really love too about this particular Miyakara, which is my only Miyakara cover that I have, is that, I could easily just use this as my planner. I can also use this as a planner cover and stick like a B6 bound notebook or journal in here, or even like a mini happy planner size discs in here, which, I might do one day. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to limit my options here. I think this cover has so many great possible uses. So I'm still really happy with this, even though I haven't necessarily used it very regularly since I purchased it last year. In addition to all of that, I mean, I have these lying around and I occasionally break them out. So maybe I'll just show them. This is an old Levenger soft folio cover that I just kind of throw my mail in, but I also have like some notes pages in the back if ever I need to kind of make some notes while I'm reviewing my mail. So this is kind of like my inbox, my physical mailbox inbox. For years and years, I had used Moleskine and Leuchtturm covers or planners for work, and really hadn't had any other type of notebook or planner. And then in 2019, I wanted to have something that gave a bit more flexibility for work in particular. And so I started using this letter size disc bound cover. And I got it monogrammed. I think I got it from Staples. And I really love this one. But it still has so many pages that I never used. So I just kind of leave it here on my shelf if ever I need a lot of space to like brain dump and map out, kind of mind mapping or quick list building. So that's my kind of Q2 or end of Q2, start of Q3 overview of my planners and journals and my planning system. There's so much. I don't really try to limit myself in terms of like, wanting everything to be in one cover or one notebook. Sometimes it's a little redundant. For example, I'll be tracking metric or, goals and habits here that I also track, on my weekly layouts here. So there is some crossover. But for the most part, I really don't track my habits on paper. I use an app, the Habit app. And I basically the last like 4 years worth of habits in that Habit app. But the ones that I want to document, for example, wellness ones, I'll notate here. Ones that I want to, document part of my weekly plans, I'll document here. I try to blend digital and analog in the most productive way that works for me. So, I really do use like the Notes app for a lot of personal notes. I use the Reminders app for like a lot of to-dos that I'm tracking, longer term to-dos. That's sort of my main to-do and task list. And then I also utilize for work Microsoft OneNote as my main notebook, like historical, like it has 7+ years worth of meeting notes and brainstorm notes and just so many things for work. So that is quite a very quick overview. I don't know that I went into too much detail into the specifics of each planner, but this gives you a sense of all the different journals and notebooks and planners that I've sort of used over the last, now going in almost 8 months, or 7 months now, going into the 8th month. And my system itself really hasn't changed too much. Adding like this little on-the-go notebook, I don't really think that's a huge change compared to everything else that I've set up for myself and had like intentionally planned at the start of the year. I pretty much have stuck to, with the exception, of course, of my goal planning. So yeah, that is my update for July, and kind of my mid-year update of my system. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'll link to the previous videos I did at the start of the year and after the first quarter. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in if you've hung on this long. And have a great August, and I hope to update you at the end of quarter 3, heading into the fall. So enjoy the rest of your summer.